A massive cargo vessel, Prosperity, drifted through the void between star systems, its hull scarred by decades of interstellar commerce. Captain Marcus Webb stood at the observation deck, watching the endless tapestry of stars while his crew prepared for the next hyperspace jump. The ship carried everything from rare minerals to exotic foods, but today it held something far more precious and dangerous. Princess Lyra of the Valen Empire sat in the cargo hold, her luminescent blue skin dimmed with exhaustion. Her captors, a group of Kretsch smugglers, had seized her during a diplomatic mission gone wrong. The reptilian beings cared nothing for galactic politics or the potential consequences of their actions. They saw only the massive bounty her father would pay for her safe return. Webb had witnessed the transaction 3 hours earlier when the Kretsch ship docked with theirs. He watched through security feeds as credits changed hands and the princess was transferred like any other commodity. The sight made his stomach turn, but interfering with Kretsch business was a death sentence for any human crew. The Kretsch captain, a hulking creature named Voss, had made it clear that the princess was merely cargo. His crew treated her accordingly, providing minimal food and water while keeping her bound in energy shackles. Webb had seen enough slavery in his years traversing the galaxy to recognize it. Regardless of the political justifications, as the Prosperity approached the rendezvous point where the princess would be transferred to another vessel, something went wrong. The ship's communication array crackled with angry voices speaking in the harsh Kretsch language. Webb's translator indicated a dispute over payment terms and territorial boundaries. The argument escalated quickly. Through the internal cameras, Webb watched as Voss struck one of his subordinates across the snout. The crew became increasingly agitated, their reptilian tails lashing with fury. The princess remained silent in her corner, but her large violet eyes tracked every movement with the keen intelligence of someone calculating escape routes. Then the unthinkable happened. In a fit of rage over the failed negotiations, Voss ordered his crew to dispose of their worthless cargo. Webb watched in horror as 4 Kretsch soldiers dragged Princess Lyra toward the airlock. She struggled against her bonds, but the energy shackles sapped her strength with each movement. Captain, his first officer, Tom, called from the bridge. They're about to space someone. Webb was already moving. He sprinted through the corridors of his ship, his boots clanging against the metal deck plates. The Prosperity was old but well maintained, and he knew every shortcut through her maze-like interior. He reached the emergency suit locker just as the airlock warning klaxons began to sound. The Eve suit slid over his clothes in practiced motions. Webb had performed countless spacewalks during his career, but never under circumstances like these. He sealed his helmet and activated the suit's thrusters as the outer airlock of the Kretsch vessel opened. Princess Lyra tumbled into space, her royal garments fluttering in the vacuum. The energy shackles around her wrists and ankles glowed brighter as they automatically activated emergency life support fields. She would survive perhaps 10 minutes before the shackle's power cells failed. Webb launched himself from his ship's emergency airlock, angling his trajectory to intercept the princess. Space combat training from his military days kicked in as he calculated vectors and thrust requirements. The princess spun slowly, her face pale but determined behind the shimmer of the life support field. He caught her with both arms, absorbing the impact with his suit's stabilization systems. Her eyes widened with surprise as she found herself pressed against a human in full EVA gear. The life support field expanded to encompass them both, sharing precious oxygen and warmth. "Hold still," Webb's voice came through the suit's external speakers. "I'm getting you out of here." The Kretsch vessel was already moving away, its captain apparently satisfied with his solution to the diplomatic problem. Webb activated his thrusters and began the careful journey back to the Prosperity. Princess Lyra remained motionless in his arms, but he could feel her studying him through his helmet's faceplate. Back aboard his ship, Webb carried the princess to the medical bay. The energy shackles required specialized tools to remove, but his engineer Lisa had experience with various restraint systems from her time in salvage operations. Within an hour, Princess Lyra was free and receiving proper medical attention. She recovered quickly, her alien physiology adapting to the ship's environment. When she finally spoke, her voice carried the musical quality typical of her species, but her words were precise and measured. "You risked your life for someone you do not know," she said, accepting a cup of synthesized tea from Webb's personal reserves. "Seemed like the right thing to do," Webb replied, settling into a chair across from her. "Besides, I've never been fond of the Kretsch approach to problem-solving." Princess Lyra studied him with those remarkable violet eyes. "The Valen Empire has had limited contact with humans. Our intelligence reports suggested your species was ... unreliable." Webb chuckled. "Depends on who you ask. We're definitely unpredictable." Over. The following days, as the Prosperity changed course toward Valen space, Webb learned about the princess and her mission. She had been attempting to negotiate a mining rights agreement that would have benefited both the Valen Empire and several human colonies. The Kretsch attack had been orchestrated by rivals who wanted to prevent any human-Valen cooperation. Princess Lyra, in turn, observed the human crew with growing fascination. She watched them work together with an efficiency born of mutual trust rather than rigid hierarchy. When emergencies arose, they responded with creative solutions that often defied conventional logic, but somehow worked. The princess was particularly intrigued by their treatment of her. Rather than demanding reward or recognition, the crew simply integrated her into their daily routines. She helped in the hydroponics bay, shared meals in the common area, and even assisted with minor repairs when her technical knowledge proved useful. When they finally reached Valen space, Princess Lyra stood beside Webb on the bridge as her father's fleet approached. The Valen ships were things of beauty, their organic curves gleaming with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in complex rhythms. "My father will want to reward you," she said, watching the lead vessel extend docking arms toward the Prosperity. Webb shook his head. "Not necessary. Just seeing you safe is enough." Princess Lyra turned to face him, her expression serious. "Captain Webb, what you did was not just rescue. You demonstrated something my people have rarely seen from other species. You acted without thought of gain or consequence, purely because it was right." As the airlocks connected and Valen officials boarded the Prosperity, Princess Lyra made an announcement that would change the course of human-Valen relations. She declared Captain Webb and his crew to be honored friends of the Empire, with all the privileges and protections such status entailed. The rescue had saved more than one life. It had opened a door between two species, proving that sometimes the most important diplomatic breakthroughs come not from negotiations or treaties, but from simple acts of decency performed in the darkness between stars. Captain Webb returned to his shipping routes, but the galaxy had changed around him. Humans were no longer just another struggling species on the galactic fringe. They were the people who caught falling princesses. Chat controls Sonnet 4 Smart